Hey y'all, so today I'm going to do a sit down chat with y'all and tell y'all about my college experience. So, I've been to college, I went to college for a year and a half, which would be 3 semesters. I attended 2 different colleges, both community colleges, and I had 2 completely different experiences. So, on my first experience of the school I went to, I was there on a manager's soccer scholarship, and it was 3 hours from home, so I had to stay in the dorms. Um, the environment of this particular school was just, I don't even know how to put that. It was just not for me, I guess, is the nicest way to put it. Um, I ended up losing my scholarship after the first semester due to 2 bad grades, which was a C and a D. Completely lost my scholarship, um, and didn't know where else to go, so I just stayed there. Went there second semester, paid completely out of pocket, which was horrible, um, along with my parents' help. And I ended up bringing my grades back up, brought my GPA back up. I think it was at that moment, when I finished at that school that first year. I think it ended up being like a 3.0 or somewhere along that. But that first semester, it was like a 2.6 or something crazy low. It might have even been lower than that. I cannot remember. For good reason. I tried not to remember, but um, I struggled that first semester adjusting to not only college life but being away from home. And I know that kind of sounds cliche or whatever. Don't get me wrong, I loved being out, being able to come and go as I pleased and doing whatever, which there was nothing to do but maybe go to a Sonic or a Burger King, which is all they had in that town. But I love the freedom I had, but I don't know. I missed home because I'm the oldest of like 5 siblings. So I missed out on birthdays, and I missed out on certain holidays, like maybe an Easter or something that we may have had practice on. Just I don't know. It was just a lot, and then on top of that, manager of a soccer team, being that you're in college, every college is different, but in this particular school with this particular coach, there was things that I had to do constantly every single day, just about. And as a manager, you have to be there a couple hours or a couple, 30 minutes before the rest of the team actually gets there, because you're doing laundry constantly. You're doing that after hours. That's even after school hours. You're doing laundry. You're organizing. You're preparing. You're doing a lot of things that are kind of behind the scenes. But not only with all of that, I was struggling in my schoolwork, because I went from in high school, I had a 3.6 GPA when I graduated, and I was making, I graduated with honors, and going from making almost straight A's with the occasional B here and there, but not even trying, you're just kind of gliding through. What the heck? I go from doing that to really struggling, like actually very trying and studying. I never really studied in high school unless it was a particular thing that I just needed to. But everything, it didn't matter if it was going to be 2 words, you need to study those 2 words. Like, I don't know, it was a different atmosphere and a different learning setting, which I wasn't used to. The environment of that school was just overall, I don't know, they were more concerned. It was like a middle school. If y'all remember in middle school where you had to raise your hand, and you couldn't even use the restroom without asking permission, and if a kid came in wearing the wrong clothing, they got sent to the principal's office. Well, this was just like that. You had kids that were there on basically going to school for free, and they would come in, their pants around their ankles just about. Well, the teacher was more concerned about trying to teach that person to pull their pants up, who, by the way, when they left, pulled them right back down, and tell them that you can't have your earphones in, you need to pull those out because I know you're not listening to me. I mean, we would completely stop class to get on to those people as if they're their children. And we're in college. If those people want to sit in the back and not write something down, let them. It was just, I don't know, just, it was so much different from what I was used to. And don't get me wrong, there's people that I had friends with and classmates and stuff that did fine and made good grades and even made like what is it called, like the dean's list and stuff. So just me in particular, I just didn't mesh well with this particular college. But like I said, I turned it around. I worked my butt off. So when I dropped soccer coincidentally is when I pulled all my grades up. So I dropped soccer. Well, they dropped me because of the scholarship, because of my GPA. But I go back through that second semester and completely turned it around, made almost complete straight A's that second semester, and ended up getting a job. So I held a job and held all my grades. So I don't know, it was just a completely just crazy wild ride there for that first semester. And then, so I get off that summer, I come back home, move out of the dorms, move back home, and I knew it wasn't going back to that school. But I didn't know what I was going to do. I was just like, well, I guess I can apply to Gulf Coast. I did not know what I was going to do. So if y'all go to school, y'all know what I'm saying. As your semester comes to an end, you should already, probably halfway through that semester, have all of your classes set up for the next semester, like the upcoming, whether it's in the fall or right back to back in the spring. You should have all of your classes set up, who you're going to take, what you're going to take, when you're taking it. It should be done. So you should have your schedule. I did not. So I came in completely late, like in the late summer. I'm going to assume sometime in May, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is when I set my schedule. So all the good classes were taken and stuff, but there was particular classes I needed to take for my major. So I'm going to go back. The first year I majored, or the first semester, my major was nursing. But like anybody, your first year you take your basics. So that second semester I switched it to psychology. So I ended up taking like family and marriage and sociology, psychology, those sorts of things that second semester, which I aced. Those were all super easy, mostly common sense to me. I enjoyed those classes. Well, then when I left that school, my grandpa ended up telling me that he had a contact that he knew, that he coached and taught for years, of someone who is in the sports medicine field. So we ended up setting up a meeting in his office, and I went, showed up early. We had a great sit down chat, a great meeting. It went completely well, but within that meeting he made one phone call and I got a spot at Gulf Coast Community College for sports medicine. So I get with the director there, which is an awesome mentor. I love her to death. I ended up, contacting her, having a little meeting with her, filling out some papers, and then she helped me set my schedule. So now my major was sports medicine, which was, if you want to, it's like a big umbrella, sports medicine. I was on the athletic trainer tier of that. So I went through that whole semester, so that following of all that other crazy stuff. So I attended Gulf Coast that fall. I attended a little early. We had to be there like August 5th, I think, is when soccer started. So she put me with soccer, which was, I loved every minute of it. Now, she not necessarily pulled a string, but kind of explained to her that I was going to pay for school. And with the athletic trainer scholarship, that helped tremendously. And then on top of that, she introduced me to the men's soccer coach, and they allowed me to have a manager scholarship with them since I had already previously done that. So I got on with them. So I was the athletic trainer, student trainer for women's soccer, and then for men's soccer, I was their manager. So it actually worked out because all of the games, we all traveled together and attended games. And if not, if they had separate ones, I just attended all of them. So I was at every single game, women's and men's soccer. So I was extremely busy, but the atmosphere was good. It was light. It was, I don't know, it wasn't so dark and gloomy. It was just so much better. I ended up, I think I have a 3.5 GPA now, so I even brought it up even higher. I retook those classes that I made C's and D's in, ended up having A's in those classes at this college. So the first college I attended, I try not to speak their name if y'all haven't noticed, but then I attended Gulf Coast and completely did a 180 or 360 or whatever and turned it around and was so much better at just attending school. You know, everything was just a lot lighter and it was just so much better. Soccer was great. I had a great mentor for the athletic training program. I had I was back around soccer again. I loved it. I loved every minute of all of it. So then I ended at that semester, and some things happened, and I ended up deciding to take a pause. So some people will probably think I'm friggin' insane, but I had both of those scholarships stacked. And I received like $250 from, I think, like the state or something, like a Pell Grant or something like that. So with all of that, I ended up getting $800 back, and I would have got another $800 back at the end of the next semester if I would have continued. I would not have had an associate's degree due to once I switched over to sports medicine, that's a 4-year degree. So I would have had to attended Southern Miss. They're one of the only and the best athletic training programs in Mississippi. So I would have attended Southern Miss, and then I would have done school there for 2 years, and then I would have had a bachelor's. I could have graduated and then gone straight into whatever school would have taken me. As y'all can see, I did not follow through with that. I decided that there were some things that happened, but I also had decided that I wanted to pause because I'm attending school, but for what? Because ultimately, by the end of that semester, I realized as a future wife and a future mom, that is not something I particularly wanted to do and follow through with, which I don't personally see anything wrong with that. I'm extremely, extremely grateful for all the opportunities and the people that helped me see those opportunities and achieve them. But at the end, ultimately, that was not something that I saw myself doing long term as a job. There was times where, like I said, if you're an athletic trainer, you're not just at soccer. I was just at soccer and barely had time for anything else. So if you've got men and women's soccer, you've got men and women's basketball, you've got men and women's tennis, you've got swim team, you've got whatever your college has, you've got or high school, whatever it may be. It's all year round because seasonal things, like if you're in high school, you've got cross country, track, soccer, powerlifting, tennis, baseball, softball, all of those things. That's constantly year round. And you've got multiple things going on at once a lot of times. And me personally, I love juggling things. I love doing, multitasking, having a lot of things on my plate keeps me constantly energized and constantly going. But it was just not something I could see. Like, I couldn't see myself being able to go home and cook dinner for whoever, for who I'm going to marry, or my kids. Like, I could not see myself, you had to be there early. If you've got early sessions to heal somebody or whatever, you've got to be there between 5:30 and 7. Well, if that's the case, are you going to be able to wake your kid up and take them to daycare? Are you going to be able to see them that morning? Well, if you've got a game that night, say a football game that runs till 10, 11 at night, plus you've got to stay after for ice baths and stuff. Are you going to be able to put your kids to sleep or cook dinner for them? You know, that was just kind of, for me, that was what I kind of saw with that I didn't think that was necessarily for me. Now I loved it, don't get me wrong, I loved every single minute of it because it was a sports related, which I love completely, plus it was medical field, and those two things together were just right up my alley. I loved every single minute of it. I love learning new things. I love learning how your body functions and works. And being that I played sports, being an ex-athlete, I kind of already knew how a lot of that stuff worked. If I had an injury or something, you know, I was always curious. I asked whoever was healing me or treating me, coach or the athletic trainer, you know, hey, what do I do with this next time? Or how do I, you know, get better with this? Well, I don't know. I just took all of that knowledge and applied it here, and I loved every minute of it. But with all that being said, so I attended 3 semesters, 2 different community colleges with 2 completely different experiences. One not so great, one fabulous, wonderful. Wish I would have started out there. I'd have been so much happier. But I hope y'all find this, you know, interesting. This is just a little story time. I did attend college. I do not have a degree. I've got 1 semester left, and if I find something that just genuinely speaks to me, I could always go back for 1 semester basically and get an associate's degree in whatever, which I've thought about before, and I still think about it all the time. I just don't know yet. So once I find that little, you know, my little niche or whatever you call it, once it clicks, then I can go from there. And you can always go back to school. I didn't drop out. I didn't quit. I just paused. So after the semester ended is when I withdrew for the next semester. And when you do that, it's fine. You don't, you know, now necessarily can I go back and do athletic training? Probably not. You know, being I was already there and doing that and stopped. But I can always go back and attend college and still keep my, you know, like I said, I have like a 3.4 GPA, which is like a B average, so I can always go back and attend college with no problem. But yeah, I just thought I should tell y'all about a little bit about my college experience. They're complete opposites of the two colleges I attended, completely different stories. But I hope y'all, it cut me off again, but I hope y'all enjoyed this. I've got a bunch more videos, I'm sure, coming soon, but let me know if y'all like when I just have sit-down story times. I can definitely do a lot more. But I hope y'all enjoyed this. I'll see y'all next time.